Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. I am Marcia Alaco, the Section Chief of the Environmental Assistance Section of the Department of Environmental Quality's Division of Environmental Assistance and Customer Service. I want to welcome you to our 2020 Environmental Stewardship Initiative Conference during National Pollution Prevention Week. With North Carolina businesses facing a myriad of decisions and actions in response to COVID-19, we made the decision to move our annual conference to this online format this year. We are providing content in 7 sessions over the next 4 days, and I hope you can join us and our speakers for this great information. Hopefully, you will gain some great resources to continue in your environmental improvement journey as we all return to work in this changed world. I'd like to thank all who have agreed to speak over the next 4 days, including DEQ staff, our ESI members, and as you'll hear later this week, companies active in the circular economy. We also need to thank Waste Reduction Partners and the Land of Sky Regional Council for hosting our event on GoToWebinar. They have been wonderful partners for us as we've shifted much of our outreach to an online format since earlier this year. Finally, I'd like to thank my team, without which this conference would not be possible, especially Angela Barger, Don Burke, and Scott Pfister, who have put their hearts and souls into planning our canceled in-person meeting and now this virtual conference. I'd also like to thank our ESI coaches, Keys McGee, Lisa Shanklin, and Ron Pridgeon, who will assist with moderator duties and question and answer sessions during the week. We're just going to go over a few housekeeping items before we start, since some of you may be new to the GoToWebinar format. If you have any technical difficulties, please give Terry Albrecht of WRP a call and he can try and troubleshoot. His number is listed on this slide at the bottom, so you may want to jot that down. As noted, you can edit your control panel settings, especially if you accidentally hide a function by using the View option in the menu, and you can hide your control panel entirely by using the red arrow at the top. If you have audio issues and are using the audio through your computer, you can switch to using your telephone. Just go to the Audio tab in the Webinar Controls box and click Phone. A phone number and code will then be shown to you to use to access the webinar. This info is also in your webinar invite and the reminder emails that you've received. We are recording all the conference sessions and we'll post links to the recordings and copies of the slides on our website soon after the conference ends, and we'll send a link to all of those who were registered. Okay, to prevent feedback and unintended background noise, all attendees are muted. However, we do want you to ask questions, and to do that, we encourage you to submit those through the question box anytime during the webinar. Our staff will share your questions and comments as applicable at the end of each presentation or panel with our presenters. Okay, let's get started. So we are excited to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Pollution Prevention Act. Pollution prevention, or P2, is not only the mission of our division, but the ESI has been a long-term recipient of an EPA P2 grant. This grant has supported our program from the beginning, and we appreciate the continued commitment so we can help our clients reduce waste at the source. Over the next 4 days, we will hear from our 2 newest ESI stewards about their environmental journeys, and other members will discuss projects that they completed related to reductions in energy, water, and solid waste. Several staff members from our regulatory divisions will give updates and insights on their programs. We'll also recognize some of our members for their achievements, and of course, today you'll hear from Secretary Michael Regan on DEQ's vision. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Jamie Reagan, the Division Director. Jamie has been working with NCDENR, now DEQ, since 2003 as a Senior Environmental Specialist. In her time at DEQ, she has been providing technical assistance and pollution prevention assistance to the agricultural community, businesses, industries, and government entities. In 2014, Jamie became the Environmental Assistant Section Chief in the Division of Environmental Assistance and Customer Service, and in 2018, she was appointed as our Director. Jamie holds a master's degree in environmental health from East Carolina University and has over 20 years experience providing pollution prevention and technical assistance.
Is it me?
It is you, Jamie.
All right. I'm not going to show my screens. There's nothing to show. So, Marcia, if you want to leave it on the agenda or whatever is fine. I'm just here to talk right now. So I want to say good morning, everyone. And I also want to say how excited I am to get to wear a blazer but bedroom slippers at the same time, because I don't know any other conference I've ever attended where I had that luxury. So this is exciting. It's a new frontier for all of us. But I just want to kick off by saying on behalf of the Division of Environmental Assistance and Customer Service, I want to welcome all of our ESI members, our potential members, hopefully future members, DEQ staff, and everyone else joining us today. So as Marcia mentioned earlier, this definitely has been a very challenging year. We've all seen the 2020 memes. We've all kind of sat at home and just kind of shook our heads and probably gained a little weight, but recognize this has been a very unusual year. But I want to state that our division, as well as our whole department, has done everything we can to continue to serve the regulated community and all the other interested parties that we interact with. So while we continue to adjust to how we do business, which includes teleworking, as you can see, I'm at home now, we're still available to assist you. So whether you have a recycling question, you may need some regulatory guidance, maybe you want to talk about having a virtual assessment, or are interested in joining our green travel or our ESI program, we're here to provide assistance. While we miss truly interacting in person, because that has been a big challenge I think everyone has faced by not having that face-to-face interaction that we're so used to, we really do hope that our webinars and virtual meetings and trainings have been beneficial to you. One webinar that I wanted to highlight from earlier this year that I think our whole team is very proud of is that DEECS collaborated with experts across 3 state agencies to present Demystifying Cleaning in the Age of COVID-19. It's a webinar with speakers from the Department of Labor, DEQ, and the Department of Health and Human Services. And I hope many of you were able to attend that. We had nearly 500 businesses and agency participants registered, and then DEECS followed up with a fact sheet following the webinar. So this is just one example of we've been responsive during COVID. I'm so proud to be a part of this DEECS team, and I know each of them is thankful to be able to work with all of you here today. Also, just want to take a real quick moment to plug the 2020 DEECS annual report, which was just recently published online. The report tells many of our stories and accomplishments. Please take a moment and check it out. That was a lot of work to pull it together, but it highlights all the great things that we have done in the past year. And a lot of that occurred during COVID. So we're very excited to be able to hold this conference virtually during P2 week, and we look forward to working with each of you as we tackle the rest of 2020. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Secretary Michael Regan, who will share a little bit about DEQ's vision. Governor Roy Cooper named Michael S. Regan Secretary of NC Department of Environmental Quality on January 3rd, 2017. As DEQ Secretary, he oversees the state agencies whose mission is to protect North Carolina's environment and natural resources. Our organization has offices from the mountains to the coast and administers regulatory and public assistance programs aimed at protecting the quality of North Carolina's air, water, and land, its coastal fisheries, and the public's health. He has more than 18 years of professional experience focused on overcoming complex challenges through environmental advocacy and regulation. Most recently, he served as the Associate Vice President of U.S. Climate and Energy and Southeast Regional Director of Environmental Defense Fund. He led the Environmental Defense Fund's efforts to reduce the impacts of climate change and air quality pollution. Prior to that, Regan worked with the Environmental Protection Agency's air quality and energy programs. Before leaving the agency, he served as a national program manager responsible for designing programs aimed at reducing pollution and market-based solutions to improve energy efficiency, air quality, and climate-related challenges. A native of Goldsboro, North Carolina, Regan has a bachelor's degree in Earth and Environmental Sciences from NC Agricultural and Technical State University and a master's degree in Public Administration from George Washington University. So as many of you have heard before, Goldsboro's in Wayne County, which is a neighbor to Johnston County, so that means we grew up right beside each other. Welcome, Secretary Regan, and thank you for being here today. It's all yours.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, and good morning to everyone, and thank you all for participating virtually this year for the conference. COVID-19 has definitely changed the way we get together, but it hasn't stopped us from getting together, thankfully because of technology. I want to take this time to recognize Jamie and our ESI team, Marcia, Angela, Don, Keys, Ron, and Lisa. And thanks to the ESI Advisory Board for everything you're doing to help make this program a success. I especially want to thank those who are joining us from other states. I hear we've got attendees from as far away as Minnesota and Utah, and a representative from the Mississippi Band of the Choctaw Indians. Everyone here has something in common. You've all made the choice to be good neighbors and to demonstrate how environmental protection and economic prosperity goes hand in hand. Governor Cooper says he wants a North Carolina and North Carolinians who are better educated, healthier, have more money in their pockets, and lead a more abundant and purposeful life. And that means all of us are part of the engine to make that a reality. I believe in our shared mission, one that suggests that we are a network of neighbors, friends, problem solvers, communities, and business leaders who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. Together, we agree that a good environment benefits the economy and a good economy benefits the environment. With leadership from governors like Roy Cooper and both public and corporate sector leaders like yourselves, North Carolina is doing more than its part. North Carolina is leading. 2 years ago, Governor Cooper signed a historic Executive Order 80 to strengthen our economy, reduce greenhouse gases, and focus on our state's long-term resilience and infrastructure needs. The order shines a spotlight on how clean energy, sustainability, and climate action are good for our economy, good for our businesses, and good for growing jobs. Creating the good paying jobs that leaders like yourself have expressed are essential, and leveraging the fact that addressing climate change is indeed aligned with today's company's values and culture. Since then, based on the hard work of our Interagency Climate Council, comprised of the governor, every single cabinet secretary, and diverse stakeholders like yourself, we have produced. And let me tell you, we've produced the state's first ever clean energy plan that spells out how we decarbonize the power sector by 70% by 2030 and reach carbon neutrality by 2050. A North Carolina zero emissions strategy for increasing the deployment of ZEV vehicles in North Carolina by 80,000 by the year 2024. A North Carolina clean energy and clean transportation workforce assessment that identifies specifically the 300,000 workers in the North Carolina clean economy. A North Carolina climate science report identifying historic and projected changes in North Carolina's climate. And finally, a North Carolina risk assessment and resiliency plan that includes a framework for assessing and addressing climate vulnerabilities all across the state of North Carolina, from Murphy to Manio. By the way, every plan that I mentioned has been delivered to the governor on time and under budget. And that's because of the investment and the resources that our stakeholders have made, including many of you on this call. To reach our greenhouse gas reductions, we're going to have to be creative. So we need the right vision and the right policies to keep North Carolina's leadership position. And whether I'm talking to the chamber or local business leaders in the 90+ counties that I've visited across the state, there is increased support for economic growth powered by clean energy and sustainable practices. It means making smart changes so that our policies and our regulations incentivize an economy that supports cleaner air, cleaner water, and a stable climate for our children. And that's tough to fight against that, even in an election year, that we can incentivize our economy that supports cleaner air, cleaner water, and stabilizes the climate for our children. But none of this is new to you. In 2002, ESI was created for companies willing to go above and beyond, those willing to make smart changes, and those who are willing to inspire others. ESI rewards you for doing more than what is required by law or regulation. And this conference is an opportunity for each of you to share success stories and growing pains on what it is like working, on what it is to be working successfully, and also share some of those growing pains that might not have equated to success. It is an unprecedented year, 2020. This is also an excellent opportunity to share the knowledge that is helping you weather the pandemic and all the challenges that you're facing while continuing to be successful. When I arrived at DEQ, I pledged to grow ESI and be your biggest advocate. And today there are 29 stewards, 12 rising stewards, and 149 partners. In 2016, we had 101 partners. So we're consistently building our partnership. In 2019 alone, ESI members reported reducing water by more than 1 billion gallons, reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 24,000 metric tons, and cutting wastewater volumes by 3.6 billion gallons. And in just 1 year, saving more than $11 million. That's $4 million more in annual savings this year than last year alone. So on behalf of Governor Cooper and the department, congratulations to every ESI member and all the great work you do. Thanks again for raising the bar and helping us protect North Carolina's environment, expand our economy, and create a better future for future generations. Thank you so much for the opportunity this morning.
Thank you, Secretary Regan. I don't think we have any questions at this point, but if people wanted to type something in, if they did have a question for Secretary Regan, we'll share that with him. I'm not seeing anything come in. So thank you again for sharing your time with us.
Thank you, and hopefully you guys have a successful couple of days.
We will try.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see, how are we doing on schedule?
We are ahead.
Okay, so we have made a decision that we are going to start exactly on time. That way, if folks wanted to catch a certain session that we're offering, that they won't be adversely impacted if we start early. So it is, you're going to see the side of my head because I have to look at my clock. So at 10 o'clock, we will come back to do our What is DEECS and ESI session. So we'll everyone can take a little tiny break. All right, folks, it's 10 o'clock. We're going to start back. Myself and Angela Barger are going to talk to you first about what our division does within DEQ, and then we're going to discuss the Environmental Stewardship Initiative if you're new to that. All right, so did it advance, guys? Just let me know.
It did.
Okay, thanks. So we are the Division of Environmental Assistance and Customer Service, and we're a non-regulatory group within the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. So all of our regulatory staff report up through our Assistant Secretary for the Environment, whereas we report up through the Chief Deputy Secretary. And we do that to make sure that the assistance that we provide to our members, either through ESI or the other assistance that we can provide some confidentiality and help you to feel comfortable in working with us. All right, as Jamie noted before, we just released our 2020 DEECS annual report, and that's a splash slide of some of the numbers that our division reports on. We help our customers to navigate regulatory and permitting challenges through ESI and our green travel. We hope to achieve, help you achieve and be recognized for environmental excellence. And through our other partners, such as waste reduction partners, become more environmentally efficient and make the most of the available resources. And then our regional coordinators, which I'll talk about in a minute, we also contribute to economic growth within the state. We partner very closely with our Department of Commerce and our Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. These are the different programs we have under DEECS. So we're going to mainly speak today about our Environmental Stewardship Initiative, but some of these other programs, some of the folks I won't go into too much detail is our Regional Office Administration and our free hotline that we run for the department. Okay. One of the programs we have within DEECS is the Small Business Assistance Program and the Small Business Ombudsman. Those were mandated by the Clean Air Act amendments of 1990, and they provide technical assistance to small businesses, whether that's with compliance issues, assisting with emission calculations. Our SBO, SB main person is also the expert on auto body and paint booth emissions for the entire country. And we, along with ESI and our other programs, promote pollution prevention and related to air accidental release prevention. And for those of you who may not know, small businesses are usually those entities that have less than 100 employees. One of the last things that our Small Business Ombudsman does is comment on state and federal rules. So if there's something that's interested to you, please reach out to Tony Pendola and we will share that. Okay, the next thing I wanted to discuss was our regional coordinators. So for those of you unfamiliar with DEQ, we have 7 regional offices besides the offices that are located in Raleigh. And in our regional offices, we have environmental systems coordinators. And they are tasked with assisting our customers in developing customized permitting assistance and coordination, whether that's through tailored permit lists, providing timeline development if you're going to be seeking multiple approvals or permits from us. We also coordinate the DEQ SEPA response process. Our coordinators are intricately involved in the express permitting process that occurs in the regions, and they've also participated in either pre-application or compliance assistance meetings along with our regulatory divisions, and they provide multi-agency scoping meetings. We are also the main point folks if our customers are requesting information from our regional office staff. And as I noted before, they are the main liaisons in prosperity zones. The legislature has set up 8 different prosperity zones across the state where they have tasked ourselves, Department of Transportation and Commerce, and working closely together to make sure that projects get the permits that they need. Some of the tools that our coordinators use and are available to anyone in the state, we have a permit directory, and that's what the upper right-hand screenshot provides. That's just an example of one of the permit fact sheets that we have. So for all of the 100+ permits and approvals that we provide to our customers, we have these fact sheets, and it spells out the exact same thing on each one. You know, what is required for that permit? What is the purpose? Who issues it? How much does it cost? How do you apply? So all of those questions are answered for you if you need to interact with us. The other big document that they use is this considerations for development document, and I have the screenshot on the bottom. So that tries to highlight, if you're doing new development within the state, what are the things that you need to think about when you're doing that. We've also developed some permit application pitfalls, time savers, what to expect if you're in one of our scoping meetings. So all of those resources are available on our website. So speaking of scoping meetings, those are really done in the sort of the early stages of a project when there's still leeway for you to change your project. You meet with not only DEQ staff, but staff from other regulatory agents such as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and everyone looks at your project on the front end. That allows us to tell you what is a requirement and what is like a best practice or some way that you may be able to change your project slightly and maybe avoid being under a regulatory program. And it'll also assist you in avoiding costly missteps and surprises. And this is just a splash page of the 5 coordinators that cover our 7 regional offices here at DEQ. Okay. And as I mentioned before, Waste Reduction Partners is a great partner for us here at DEECS and ESI. It is a team of highly experienced staff of retired engineers and scientists that provide consulting services to identify cost savings, and most of the time those are free to our customers. They are confidential and supported through government and utility sponsored grants. We've had a recent focus with WRP on water and wastewater facilities, but they've also worked hand in hand with quite a few of our ESI members, and their clients include businesses, manufacturers, and institutions. This is the outcomes from WRP from our annual report that was just released. And so they did 98 different assessments last year across 39 counties of the state, identifying over $1 million in utility cost savings, reducing energy, and greenhouse gas reduction of over 3,000 CO2 equivalents, and identifying over 11 million gallons in water conservation. And so, as I noted, they will provide assessments, energy efficiency, water efficiency, waste reduction, or they can also do leaning in P2. And they recently completed a study where they found that 87% of the recommendations that they provided were being implemented by past clients. And they've identified that the clients can get $5 of payback for every dollar they invest. So if you haven't used our Waste Reduction Partner Services, please do. Also within DEECS is the State Recycling Office. They manage the state's recycling grants. That's money that's provided by the legislature to either local governments or individual recycling businesses to help promote recycling within the state. Last year, they did a 10-week Recycle Right promotional campaign where we really wanted to get the word out on what can be recycled and what should not be recycled. I'm sure most of you have heard some parts of the country have said recycling is dead, and that's not the case. Because of the work that our state recycling office has done, North Carolina is better positioned than other parts of the country because we support our local recycling business. And one of the other things that the recycling unit does is provide outreach. So with the pandemic, a lot of our local programs have been hard hit. You know, there's many things that need money right now. So they've been working with them to try and make sure that we can provide what they need to keep the recycling efforts up. And our Waste Reduction Partners is actively working with our state recycling folks to do another job study. The last one we had were identified over 16,000 jobs within the state are related to the recycling economy. And folks within our recycling office said that they've seen more companies that want recycled product looking to move to our area. So if you're at home and you're thinking that you've heard that recycling is dead, please do not believe that. Please keep putting your recycles in your recycle bucket because these manufacturers need those products to make new ones. As I mentioned before, we have the NC Green Travel Program. So that's a partnership between DEQ, the Center for Sustainability at Eastern Carolina University, Waste Reduction Partners, and Department of Commerce's Visit North Carolina. And it helps provide an avenue for businesses that rely on tourism to brand themselves through going green, and it recognizes them for their accomplishments, either doing energy, water, or waste conservation or reduction and recycling. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Angela, who's going to speak to you about our ESI program. And Angela, I see you're actively
I'm working on it. Hang on.
taking the presentation over. Okay, I see your slides.
And can you see me?
I have to click on my little flower. Hold on.
That's okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Angela Barger. I am the manager of the Environmental Stewardship Initiative. Oops, hopefully that's still up for you guys. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our program, particularly for those of you who are not already members. Those of you who are, we are so grateful to have you with us. We miss seeing your faces very much, and we hope to get back out to see you soon. But the Environmental Stewardship Initiative, we're a recognition and assistance program specifically aimed at superior environmental performance. We have staff that Marcia mentioned in her intro that perform coaching duties. So when you join the program, basically one of us becomes your coach, and we can help guide you through moving up in the program and what resources are available to you, our trainings, and other assistance that you may want to take advantage of. We are a voluntary program. Really, we only have one requirement that you have to do each year in order to stay in the program, and that is to provide us with that annual report so that you can see, we can use that data to help support our grant that EPA provides to us, as well as for us to see the trends in the data that you guys are working on, so we know where to point our resources to. We're free. You've already paid for us because we are paid for through the EPA grant and through legislative funding through the General Assembly. So, you know, we're the best kept secret in state government. You've already paid for us with your tax dollars, so we'd love for you to take advantage of us and our services. Some of the benefits and services that we have. So we do provide some technical assistance, particularly in solid waste, energy, and water reductions. We lean heavily on our waste reduction partners to help provide those. We also have some internal capability for going out and assisting our facilities one-on-one with those kinds of things. We also have good relationships with each of the regulatory agencies. And so if you have a compliance question, you can reach out to us, and then we can reach out to them on your behalf and see if we can get some answers for you on those kinds of things. We do a lot of networking. It used to be that was a lot more often and in person. This year has been a bit of a challenge, and we've pivoted a lot of our networking events to online webinars. And I'll talk a little bit more about those in a bit. Again, we do recognize our program is 3-tiered, and I'll talk more about those tiers in a minute, but we do give some recognition at each one of those levels. And those tiers are the partner, rising steward, and steward levels of the program. We have an electronic newsletter that goes out to our membership every other month. Don is actually in charge of that. So anytime you have stories that you'd love to share with other members in the program, please forward those on to him. He's always looking for some good content to share. I've already discussed the coaches. We do training at no cost to our members, particularly on environmental management systems. And in addition to that, we also will provide some one-on-one assistance with our members who are actually implementing environmental management systems or improving their environmental management systems. We have a steward forum. So for those members at the highest level of the program, our stewards actually get to meet with the secretary once a year, where it's just him and them, and they just have a conversation, an open conversation about any concerns that they might have, things that are coming down the pike, that kind of thing. It is totally an open conversation, and it's a very beneficial for both sides to be able to have that open communication. We have a listserv for our membership as well, where we can send out things fairly quickly, reminders of, for example, the conference, but also if someone has a question, like on a technical thing or a compliance thing, they can send it in to us, we can get the answer, and then we'll post the answer to everybody so that everyone benefits from those types of questions. So feel free to send us those kinds of questions so that we can get those answers and provide that information to the entire membership. And then of course we do some member marketing. So for those of you who are not members, we do post member links to websites and stuff on our website, so that, you know, if you want to go and see who's there and then go check them out, you can do that. And then in our presentations and things, we have a splash screen of all our membership that we love to put up and share with folks. So we're doing a little bit of marketing on our members' behalf in that way. So our staff members, like I said, we can actually provide some of that personalized environmental management system assistance, internal auditing assistance. So for those members that are looking for a fresh set of eyes to participate in one of their internal audits, we can do that. Gap analysis is like a 2-day input for you if you're developing that environmental management system and you want to see, you know, where you're missing pieces. We look at that. Like I said, we talk about those compliance questions and having that open door with our regulatory side. Our stewards actually agree to mentor our other members within the program. So if you're looking to like move up in the program, if you're looking for some ideas about how to perform a certain environmental function, then you can reach out to us and we can see if we can connect you with one of our stewards who has done something similar to what you're looking for. And then you have that access. And then, of course, we have our networking opportunities. So, for example, this conference, typically this happens in the spring and we're all together and you have the chance to discuss with each other in between our sessions. So when we have breaks, everybody has the chance to actually like get together and talk. And we'll have a few booths set up by some of our partners like WRP and, you know, the Carolina Star Group and others that we work with on a regular basis, and they're there. And so you have that chance to network as well. So we hope to get back to that next year. I don't know why that just popped out. There we go. So other things that we do, we have benchmarking events at our member facilities. This is particularly on hold right now, although we might try and do some networking online with some of our members, you know, getting together and picking a topic to talk about. But we do have other topic-based, typically on-site, that we have already converted to online. Online versions of our meetings. And those include energy reduction programs. So Scott Pfister's actually come on board, and he and Terry with WRP have been working together to create an energy webinar series that I hope some of you have been able to take advantage of some of the offerings that they've been presenting lately. Solid waste reduction, you know, as a topic, a lot of people are interested in the zero waste to landfill, and so we've been having several facilities each year who are interested in learning more about that, and so we've done some on-site versions of that, and we can always convert that to an online version. Of course, EMS topics and community outreach are always important to our members. We have a hazardous materials quarterly event. Typically, again, this one's on site that we've converted over to a webinar version, and Dawn also is in charge of that. We work very hand in hand with our waste management folks in the hazardous waste section, but also with public safety who do the tier 2 reports and anyone else who might handle hazardous materials, so that we can kind of give you a whole picture when we're looking at that pollution prevention piece of hazardous materials. Again, we do training. We have a EMS implementation series. It's a series of 6 modules. We say 7. The 7th one is a Q&A kind of open session. So we have 6 active modules that typically happen 1 module a month for 6 months. This year, we're actually going to have this. It's going to be live. It is going to be condensed. So we're starting it next month, and we'll be doing 2 sessions a month through December, but it's going to be a very small class, you know, a maximum of 10 members in the class, so that we can social distance. You can kind of see a picture of our room there. It's slightly longer than what you're looking at. So in order to social distance, we're going to keep our class numbers low in order to do this live. We, again, will help with internal auditing. We have a class that we do on site that we are going to be piloting an online version early next month to see if that is actually going to work for us, because one of the things we do during that class is a mock audit, and that tends to be the thing that everyone likes and enjoys the most about the class. It kind of brings all those topics together. So hopefully that will work out doing it virtually. And then open to everybody, whether or not you're a member. We have a 2-day overview class. It's 2 days when we do it in a classroom. However, we did earlier this summer do a version of it where we did 4 half days online, and it was very well attended. We went from having 4 people signed up to participate live to having 34 people signed up and attending our virtual session. So that was actually a big win for us and a good learning for us as well. So we will probably be doing that again early next year. We have lean and green training that we've done in the past that we could easily create a virtual version of. Zero waste to landfill 101, and of course developing smart environmental goals. So all of those things we could provide as free training for our membership. So in order to be a partner, it's a pretty low bar. Basically, these are the folks that are just getting started. They don't have an environmental management system, but they are starting to put in place some environmental goals. And what we're looking for is that you're not under environmental criminal indictment. Really, it's that low of a bar. And then you agree, of course, to provide us with an annual report on the progress that you're making towards those goals that you set. So we'd like for members, new members at the partner level, to set either a goal to implement environmental management system, and we understand that that is not a good goal for some of our smaller facilities or those with limited environmental help. So if you can't do and implement an EMS, or you have no other driving factors to implement an EMS, then your other option is to set 2 long-term measurable environmental goals. So that would be like reducing your energy usage, or reducing your water usage, or reducing solid waste, that kind of thing. And then, of course, to report on those goals annually. That's all we ask. It's pretty simple. And then that report is actually due to us May 15th of each year. And that's how we get those great numbers that the secretary mentioned earlier. At the rising steward level, which is the next level up, you meet all those requirements of the partner level, but you do have to have that environmental management system in place, which is why we do that training session. So for any of our partners interested in moving up in the program, then we can actually help them implement that EMS. They do have to set long-term measurable goals. So they have to have both of those partner requirements, right? So while the partners get to choose to implement an EMS or choose to put in 2 measurable goals, our rising stewards have to have both. And then they also should demonstrate a commitment to go beyond compliance. At the rising steward level and the steward level, which will be coming up next, they undergo reviews every 5 years to make sure that they're still meeting the requirements of that level. Or they can apply to move up, and then they reset their 5 years. The stewards, they have to meet those requirements of the other 2 levels, but then theirs gets a little bit harder. So their goals have to be aggressive, and we're talking about aggressive for their facility. They're not compared to anyone else, just what they can do at their site and what they have done in the past. They have to commit to exemplary environmental performance, integrate their environmental management system into their core business functions. For those of you who have ISO 14001 systems, this is actually a requirement in the new ISO 14001 2015 version that was not there prior to that, and this has been a requirement of our program since 2002. You have to communicate with your local community, and what we're talking about there is not just participating in community activities, but also participating in that environmentally. So talking about their environmental programs and answering environmental questions from the community and having that back and forth. And then once they're a steward, of course, they agree to mentor others in the program. And again, they undergo that 5-year program review. As you can see, our growth from 2002 to now, we've gone from 1 steward to 30, 27 partner sites to 48 partners at 152 sites because we added a multi-site application, and then also 12 rising stewards. That level didn't begin until 2004. And you can see by the little carrots there on the map that we cover the entire state, although there are a few gaps that we would love to fill.
Angela, just to let you know, we've got about 4 minutes left, but I'm not seeing lots of questions come in, so.
Okay, I'm getting close to the end.
Yep.
Like I mentioned before, this is one of those slides that we use to kind of promote our membership, and these are a lot of our members in that we could find logos for. So we'd love to have any new folks join us, and we'll add you to this lovely slide so that we can promote you as well as being part of our environmental team. We do have an advisory board. It's a group made up of not to exceed 15 members. Our environmental stewards actually receive preference for this group because they actually help to direct the program, and we want to keep the integrity of the program high. So they are the ones who actually review those applications to move up to the higher levels, and then they make recommendations to the DEQ secretary. He makes the final decisions on who moves into those higher levels of the program. And then we also have an internal working group that is made up of mainly our regulatory agencies, and then we also have someone from DEECS who does a quick review as well. But these folks act as our technical gurus whenever we need some assistance on understanding regulations or understanding how someone has implemented something that is not in our technical mainstream. All right, and then this is a draft from our 2019 numbers. So these just came in May 15th, and so they may change a little bit before they're finalized, but this is close to the numbers that we'll have. And I believe the secretary mentioned some of these numbers. The one we love to point out is we have like over $11 million saved just from environmental projects. But what I want to tell people is that is reported by our members, and it is optional for them to report it because, you know, some things are very proprietary. And so we may have had, out of the 80 some odd members that reported, maybe 15 to 20 actually report cost savings to us. So that is a very small fraction of what the environmental projects that our members have put into place have actually saved. So I just want to make sure I point that out to folks. You are here, you're at our annual conference. Like I said, we typically hold this in the spring, and you can look at our agenda and see all the great topics that we have. We always have our newest stewards speak if we have new stewards from the previous year. And you know, we always do our recognition and have a recycling update and things like that. And then it's a matter of topics that are interesting to you, things that our members have worked on. We try and also think a little bit ahead. So for example, this year we'll be doing some circular economy stuff. And I don't know why my thing keeps popping out. But
Well, we're right at 10:30.
okay. So does anybody have any questions?
This is Don. We did have an additional question. We've answered one, but this last question was, does the SEM plan requirement specify any particular type of SEM, such as ISO 50001?
I don't believe so. If you're talking about within our program, because we are voluntary, we're not part of the regulatory side of the SEM. But for our program, we don't require people to put in ISO 14001 systems. However, it is the model that we use and that we teach. I don't know if that actually answered the question, but that is how we work it here.
Okay.
What else?
That was it right now. I already responded behind the scenes on one, on is there a job board that I can review where your members may be looking for new folks? And I stated not at this time, but it's definitely something we can consider implementing in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It is not something that we do because we're a state agency. We can't show favoritism, but we can see if we can figure out a way to do that. I don't know. Anything else?
That's it at this time.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. I am going to stop sharing my screen. And
I believe Lisa Shanklin's going to take over for our next session.
all right.
Hi, I'm Lisa Shanklin, and I'm one of the ESI coaches. This next presentation is from our newest steward, the Eaton Corporation, located in the Asheville area. Their EHS manager, Icha Dungo, and I both met when she was at the Raleigh plant. While in Raleigh, we set up a couple of very informative networking meetings with Dell as their mentor. Icha has over 12 years of experience working as an EHS manager with Eaton in locations across the U.S. She has a BS in environmental science from Kathmandu University and an MS in environmental health and safety from Finley. Welcome, Icha.
Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. First of all, just a couple of check. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see my screen, Angela?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put my screen on the PowerPoint mode. How about now? Are you seeing my double screen?
We can't. We can see your presenter screen, so you'll need to switch
You
types.
can see my presenter screen, right?
Right. We see your presenter, the one that would have the notes. So you'll need to go
Okay.
to the duplicate there.
Let me swap. How about now?
Perfect.
All righty. Okay. Well, good morning. Thank you for such a warm welcome. And just to go quick introduction, like mentioned, obviously my name is Icha Tungale. I'm originally born and raised in a country called Nepal. I came to do my school here in the United States and been working for a long time with Eaton. Eaton has been the primary employment for me, so I haven't worked with any other companies. I've been to various couple locations, you know, within the Eaton. Recently, I was in Raleigh. That's where I met the ESI team, and then I'm in Asheville, North Carolina right now. It's pretty down here. All right, so that's my quick introduction. Before we start, I do wanted to recognize the ESI team. I know, as Angela mentioned, it takes a lot of effort and coordination to work with the companies and to help them mature their system and do all kinds of background scene, right? So I do appreciate you guys. This was a big recognition for my team, you know, so on behalf of the Eaton Asheville team, I'd like to say thank you for ESI team and all our DEQ for your support. So today I wanted to go over just a couple of high-level agenda. I will talk about what do we do here in Asheville, just a little bit about our vision and strategy. I'll probably talk more from the Eaton standpoint because Eaton is a global company and we kind of follow their lead to make sure we are aligned with their strategy and helping the company overall. And then I'll talk about our Asheville ESI journey and some of the operational metrics and employee engagement and communication strategy. So mentioned before, Eaton is a power management company. If you guys haven't heard, we do have, we operate in more than 175 countries. Last year, the number of employees were 97,000 employees, and it's a different businesses from hydraulics to electrical and then industrial sector. Asheville plant, we are under electrical sector, and we make switch gears, and I'll talk a little bit about our product and what we do. So obviously, you know, as you can see on the screen is our vision is to improve the quality of life and environment through the use of our power management technology and services. So we're looking at, you know, your carbon footprints as well as from the globally, you know, how do we make sure our products and services is providing that sustainable solution to the folks. So just a high level for the Asheville plant, obviously we are under electrical sector. As you can see, square footage, quite a big plant. We have about 1,000+ employees right now. Even with the COVID impact, we haven't slowed down. Our production has been significantly up right now. We are hiring more people. We have 5 manufacturing product lines under different ledger. Obviously, we are engineering to order products. That sometimes makes it a bit challenging to come up with a different green strategy for our site. But we do our best. We have marketing, research, development, and customer and manufacturing. Some of our product line, including our low voltage assembly switchgear. We make medium voltage control drives, automatic transfer switch. I'm sure you guys have familiar or have seen the smaller scale at your house, and when you might have it in your plant. We do have a steel and fabrication department. We've been ISO 14000 certified for quite some time. We are part of the Carolina STAR VPP program for our safety side, and the big achievement for this plant was for zero waste to landfill, which is achieved in 2017. Here's just to you can see the just the product, a different product I mentioned earlier, from medium voltage control to ATS, automatic transfer switch, low voltage assembly, and a couple of different smaller products that we built here. So we obviously it's engineered to order, right? So the customer tells us what they want, and it's very unique to the customer. It is not the standard model or the type for every single product. So it depends on what's their specs. We obviously manufacture, we test, and then we ship it to our product, to our customer. So let's transition. So that's kind of the Asheville background. I wanted to transition a little bit to our sustainability at Eaton. This one is kind of cool graphics, right? If you look at our, Eaton's approach has always been not only about the footprint, right? It integrates our financial, our environmental, social, and governance aspect goals. As I mentioned earlier, is obviously the main vision is to improve the quality of life and environment through the use of power management technology and services. So to help us get there, we've developed different sustainability strategy that multiplies our impact through employee engagement and development. And for today's topic, I'll probably just stay focused on our footprint and employee engagement. But obviously, we have a separate strategy from our customer standpoint, from our supply chain aspect. So there's a lot of functions, right, that working together to create that culture for Eaton. So that's one of the really neat thing as being a partner with the bigger corporation is, from your CEO, you could see the vision. And I'll talk a little bit about, we've recently announced our 2030 goals as well. And it's just neat to see that. And then we at the plant level, right, we're trying to come up with our strategy to make sure we are aligned with the corporation. So everybody is working towards the common goals and mission, and having that branding as Eaton. So mentioned before, obviously, we're trying to align our strategy. We measure different environmental metrics, operational metrics, you can say. So for today, I'll probably talk a little bit about what's unique for Asheville on waste to energy and greenhouse gas, and then a little bit around our employee engagement. So I wanted to talk a few bullet points. As I mentioned, zero waste to landfill was a big milestone for Asheville. They started the journey. I was not even here. I've been with the company for about 2 years, but it started back in 2015. The driver was our partnership with our third party, which is the Heritage Interactive. We do work with these guys to figure out, what type of waste, how do we divert this waste from landfill, what waste can we send it to our waste to energy. So we were able to work that strategy out. And we've been doing that since 2015. We were officially recognized in 2017. And some of the metrics I mentioned, we are measuring it every year. We have annual goals. Sometimes it could be, hey, we need to reduce the volume that goes to waste to energy, because we have diverted all our waste from landfill, but there are still quite a bit of amount that we are sending it to the incineration facility. Still, better than the landfill, but that's been our focus lately. So we do that. We are constantly looking for ways to reduce our packaging. That's been a 2020 focus. Is when you hit that ceiling, right? Then that's when we're trying to figure out, like, let's work with our supply chain. Let's come up with the strategy to reduce the packaging material, to reduce the cardboard, to reduce the waste to energy. So that's been a focus this year. And at that small bullet box I have is currently 55% of our manufacturing sites are waste to landfill. And as a corporation, our goal for 2030 is 100% of our manufacturing sites be zero waste to landfill. So that's a big target and mission that we have. From our greenhouse gas emissions, we have done very similar to, I'm sure you guys have done it, from LED lighting upgrades to more efficient HVACs, compressor study, air leak, and we've done all those. Big project that's currently happening, started last year, is our roof renovation project. That's quite a bit of effort for the size of our building. From investment, it's little over $6 million. We started last year, and we are close to finishing, probably 2 to 3 weeks shy from completing that project. So we haven't been able to quantify these savings, but we do know there's quite a bit of savings we're going to see next year. So that's a big. And then the next one that's big happening is we are currently working with the Duke Energy and to see if there's any potential for us to explore some solar projects for 2021. So these are just some of the highlights. For 2030, Eaton's goal is more than 50% of our manufacturing sites are on renewable electricity, and there's some pretty hefty goals that are happening. And the middle one is obviously our metrics that we track on an annual. Our goal is 3% reduction absolute numbers, and then we'll also look into normalize with the sales as well. We do have a global energy management system where we're tracking. We have a corporate team that help us to review the project and put together a case if we need some capital investment and things like that. So some of the project, as you can see, had made it successful for Asheville plant recently. Next one is the water consumption. I know it's the primary medium, right, through which the climate change influences our ecosystem. This has been a bit challenging for us. Honestly, we've kind of hit that ceiling from our water reduction strategy, but we continue to look for options. We recently partnered with the Waste Reduction Partner to see, hey, what else out there? What can we do to reduce our water consumption? We still have annual goals to reduce our water. We are tracking, we'll be more interested to see if there's any cool ideas that are happening across our manufacturing site and see what we can do there. This might be the one area that we're always looking for some ideas from Eaton Corporation standpoint. The goal is to 10% of manufacturing sites with zero water discharge by 2030. So we'll continue to monitor to that. So now I'm going to switch a little bit to our employee engagement on our metrics. So this one is a cool graphic that we always, when we educate our employee, we're always talking about the footprint and handprint strategy. So, as a manufacturing side, we're constantly looking for ways to reduce our carbon footprint, right? But there's only so much we can do because at the end of the day, we still have to produce a product that takes a resource, right? So the philosophy has been like, how do we increase our handprint, right? We call it a net positive, which is, you increase which is like you get involved with the community-driven activities, you get your employee and the increasing the benefit of our product and solution to the point where the impact of our product outweighs the impact of our operational footprint. So we are really encouraging employees to think differently about our business, our communities, and see what we can do to leave that positive impact we can have it on the world. So I'll share some of the examples that we've done. This is the one that we celebrated on our Earth Day. We have a wellness team, came up with the great idea to plant the sunflower seed at our site, and we did that. You can see the before and after picture, and then the team took it to the next level by making this flower bouquet, and we took it to different senior citizen and some of the organization we work locally here in Asheville, and it just kind of reach out to your community and increase your positive handprint, right? So that's one example. Here's another one, more around educational as well as engage your employees. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was on the PowerPoint mode here. Is the dumpster dive we call. We do these annually. Again, the intent is to educate your employees and see what's going on. What are the waste that we are throwing into our employees? So it's a pretty good event that we try to organize every year. Another graphics in manufacturing sites. I'm sure you guys are in the same challenge. Is we have so much, and we are constantly educating our employee on which trash can to use. So we have this cool color coding type of different trash bins for our employees. Some of the visuals that we put together for our employees. So we are, using the right bins for the right type of waste. Quite a different type of waste that we have, from compost to wire recycling, and from our regular plastic, paperboard, and the spools, and etc. This one is some of the examples of our employee communication we've done, internally, as well as we do get some corporate-driven communications. We take that information and share with our employees. Super critical, right? They stay engaged and they know what's happening, and how can they contribute at the individual level to Asheville plant. So we all 1,000 people are working on the same goal. So just a couple of examples that we've used for the employee communication. Here's another one is, and kudos to our corporate team, and they do put together these fact sheet that we do share with our employees. As you can see, the first one is around, how's the manufacturing sites doing? What's the total waste at landfill? What do we do with our, what are some of the processes? Second one is around water data. Obviously, the third one is our energy data. So it just kind of break it down so employees can understand and then see what's the impact and how they can contribute. So we do utilize this as a communication to our employees for sure. This one is another neat thing that we did last year is partnership with our local in the schools. We donated our safety glasses. We go out there, work with kids. We generated a bunch of plastic totes that we were able to donate to the schools for the flower pots. So we're always looking for some of the opportunities around sustainability for our local community. So again, another great example of expanding your positive handprint to your community. This one is just a snapshot. I tried to do a few things from inclusion and diversity to our community involvement, March of Dimes, and we do have a Habitat for Humanity. So there's different things that we do. We have a wellness committee here that we try to partner with. So our green team is partnering with our wellness committee, wellness team to execute some of these programs. So anytime we get the opportunity, we try to have a collaboration with these guys and then go out and then be involved with these programs. Last one, I believe this is probably second last slide that I have is I did reference a lot about our Sustainability 2030. I wanted to kind of share with you guys as an organization or as a corporation, this is where we are heading, right? From doing the business right to operational footprint, from our customer standpoint to our employee development. All these four things makes the culture of our Eaton, and that's how we measure our sustainability. Obviously, there are different strategies behind it, how to get there. We'll definitely each of the sites will be following the lead and then coming with our own internal metrics to achieve the goals and continue to make a positive impact to our community and honestly to the globally. So with that, I know I have one quick video. I wanted to end my presentation. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, you guys will be able to hear it or not, but we're going to give it a shot. This is a really one that it kind of talks about what Eaton does and what the sustainability looks like for our Eaton, and we use this for our employees. It's pretty neat video that the team has put together. So I'll play it. If you guys can't see it, it's completely okay. I'd be more than happy to share after the presentation. So really quick, less than 2-minute video. All right, let's see. Sorry, don't mean to go to the next one. All right, so I honestly didn't realize my camera was off until at this point, but my apology for that. But that's all information I wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully that video played, and hopefully I gave you a little bit about what Asheville does and what's the Eaton visions and how we all are marching together to achieve that common goal. So as mentioned, Angela mentioned earlier, we're always welcome, you guys are always welcome. If there is anyone out there in our community looking for mentorship, or we can share some ideas, benchmark each other, we are here. Always reach out to me if you need anything, or just Angela, and we can connect. So with that, Angela, that's all I have. I appreciate the time, and again, thank you, ESI team, for your support.
Thank you, Ichia. This is Don. We have no questions at this time, but thank you again for the presentation. Marcia?
We did have one comment. Someone really liked your video, Icha.
Awesome, great.
Yeah, so let me just take over the presentation. I'm going to put up our agenda for the rest of
Marcia,
the day. Yep,
and
go ahead, Don.
Ichia, we did just have a question come in. It's got, how far away is the waste to energy facility from the Eaton Asheville facility?
It is quite a bit. So we actually transfer it to South Carolina, and it goes all the way to probably 4 to 5 hours from here. So our hauling charge is definitely a bit high. So there's a transfer station, and then so it's not locally for sure. So 4 to 5 hours drive from here.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. No other questions, Don?
No, just some many thank yous and great video. So again, great job.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Yes.
Well, thank you, Icha, and congratulations to Eaton on being recognized as one of our 2 newest ESI stewards last year. That's it for our morning session. We'll be back at 1:30 for this afternoon session, and you see the agenda is on the screen. Please don't forget you're going to use the same link to log in throughout the week. And after you exit your session each day, you're going to be directed to a survey. We ask that you please respond to those to help us improve the content that we provide through the ESI program. Each survey will relate to the session that's just ending. But if you did have some comments for us about ESI in general, or something you wanted to see, add those as well, because we're always looking to improve. That's it, and we'll see you at 1:30. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.